think... welcome in, Delta Actual. We're playing some Road Trader. What's this? Anti-vehicle revolver. Yeah, so we're actually... that's a Melta. Improved heavy bolter. 12 to 18. So somehow... yeah, it felt so heavy. That's weird. Yeah, the 1-star, we already have that one though. Exitus long loss. What the hell's that? $40 to $60.
With each step, I forge my destiny among the stars.
Let's see. Damn.
Let us walk this path to the end.
$33 to $49. Henrix, I think you got a new... no. Not 45 to 60. Damn it. There we go. Heavy bolter on her, I think. Where is it though? This one is still good. As long as it hits. So that was kind of weird. Like, I'll try it out, but I'm pretty sure it won't do as good as they did on me. But I'm curious to try it out.
Of this mortal flesh.
The Emperor favors me today.
We shall reclaim what is rightfully ours.
Reclaim away. Okay, let's save. Let's check this out. Okay, so we made it to some camp here. Let's see what we got. I see that you did not heed my warnings, Svinto. Your decision to come here in spite of them may have consequences, but we will still have a chance to turn it to everyone's advantage. If your lordship listens to me very carefully, with all due respect to you, Lord Inquisitor, I shall ask you to refrain from any further threats directed toward the blessed rogue trader, lest you face repercussions from me. How courteous of you to warn me, Master Viserion. I will remember your words. Master von Claux, I am pleased to see you. How was your journey? Illuminating, Lord Inquisitor. Henrik's tone would have frozen anyone else solid, but not Calcazar. What are you doing here? Exactly what my duty dictates. Saving the Imperium, isn't it obvious? Point at the Xenos construct. Is that what you are here for? What is it? We call it a shard, and yes, as you have noted quite aptly, it is the reason I am here. This construct contains an ancient, or rather a pre-ancient, being of cosmic power. They were called the Catan. The entity is currently trying to escape, and I am here to collar it. Calcazar nods at the giant device, whose design clearly points to it having been brought into the crypt from outside. Of course, the Inquisition wants to collar it. How typical. Honeyed speech dissolves into solitary crudeness. Throne, damn it. Even I can see that no good can come from this Grok's shit crazy plan. What is this Catan shard, and what is it doing here? A specimen of an ancient predator race. Devourers of pulsars who feasted on star systems. Reality itself bent to their power, but many millennia ago an ancient Xenos race managed to defeat them, scattered them into pieces, and locked them away in prisons like the one you see before you. And you think you stand a chance against such power? Do you mean to say that a human is not capable of a such feat? But I am not just a human, I am an instrument of the Emperor's will, one of many, and the Imperium is omnipotent. If I were to fail, another would follow in my footsteps. That is how humanity makes the impossible possible. With the hands of particular people in particular circumstances. Your skepticism is unwarranted. How will taming this creature help save the Imperium? Over my years of service, I have come to realize that the main problem that humanity faces is this war, is the imbalance in power. Our opponents are not races or nations, but incomprehensible monsters, and it is high time we acquire one of our own. My joke will bind this creature and make it a chained guard serving the Emperor. That is not the full extent of my vision. There are other shards similar to this one, scattered across the galaxy. I plan on seeking them out and confining them all inside the joke. Each conquered monstrosity will bolster our defenses. I still have many questions for you. Given the circumstances of our meeting, I do not see why I should hide anything. Seriously, I doubt you will share this information with anyone else for one reason or another. How did this thing end up in your possession? Thanks to your predecessor, I arrived in the Expanse at the call of the explorator fleet to deal with the Archmagus Amarnot's heresy, but I quickly came to realize that the Corona's Expanse problems ran much deeper than tech heresy. Unprecedented piracy running wild, blatant smuggling of Xeno artifacts, willful and impetuous rogue traders, and growing threat to the ruinous powers. All this in a region that the Drukhari consider their domain. Frankly, I consider purging the entire Expanse. It would have been much easier to burn down the whole tangle of threats and corruption, but the web of spies that I have woven present me much more interesting and radical solutions. While investigating Amarnot's connections, I turned my eye on Theodora von Valancius, who ultimately gave me the shard. How was Theodora involved in all this? Theodora's instincts were uncanny. She spent decades hunting for a key that could open the dimensional gate, as if she knew that there was something incredible waiting for her on the other side. Her ladyship was lucky enough to discover the shard during one of her expeditions. A trophy that was too much for her to handle. Archmagus Amarnot studied it on Theodora's behalf, creating weapons in exchange for access to the dangerous relic. But their research was too primitive and unambitious compared to the true power contained inside the shard. I had one of my own acolytes, Tanakia, send her spies to Theodora. They infiltrated the rogue traders' retinue, earned their trust, and reported to me about this magnificent object. The rest was trivial. I seized Epitaph and laid down the conditions of our further coexistence. She was wise enough to concede defeat with dignity. I commence Operation Precious Sentinel. I left a garrison on Epitap, took the key to the dimensional gate from Theodora, sealed the gate, and started the creation of the yoke. I kept Theodora and her heirs in my sight, just in case. Not long before her death, I assigned Hendrix to her and ordered her to rendezvous with him. Rendezvous with him on Rykad Minoris. Yeah. But your lordship inherited him instead. I admit I wasn't aware of you. Theodora managed to keep her secret heir up her sleeve. Henrik's lip curls. It is unfortunate that I was not privy to all the details of this plan. So instead of eradicating Theodora's misdeeds, you choose to inherit them? Argenta's voice rings with righteous steel. Gritting his teeth, Abelard says quietly, in the old days, House von Valancius would have declared war over something like this, and fought until the offender was dead. Why did you call the Astartes to come to your aid? I needed a remarkably strong force to keep my Xenos allies in check. The Emperor's angels were just the weapon I was looking for, except considering the sensitive nature of my operation, I couldn't very well risk requesting aid from my allies in the Death Watch, could I? And then I remembered the old debt owed to me by the Space Wolf Great Company, so I decided to call in a favor. They were an asset at first. The wolves helped me close the dimensional gate by overpowering its security systems. I tasked them with hunting the Xenos condemned by Iremeris, but eventually they started prying, and that was unacceptable. I could control Thorvald by giving him more tempting targets, but the baleful Howe pack. They raided an outpost where my agents had been meeting with the Drukhari. The pack took prisoners but lost the esteemed brother Alfar. I hoped they would give their all to the search, but instead the wolves forced this system's coordinates out of the captives and made crashing down on my head. Let's see if I read that right. But instead the wolves forced this system's coordinates out of the captives and came crashing down on my head. Yeah, I think I read it right. They had no gate to transport them. They used nothing but their warp engines. Thankfully, they realized their situation too late. So Takeda managed to neutralize them. What is the joke? Containment device similar to this one, except better. The joke was devised by... What? This cat does not know how to cuddle. It's very weird. The joke was devised by the brightest mind of two races using the ancient wisdom of how a long-gone Xeno civilization, a prison capable not only of holding the Catan shard, but also of controlling it while releasing fraction of its being. an instrument of obedience and destruction. A masterpiece whose creation required immense effort. It was made on Eurofreight 2. I captured Amarnath's student, Axiomantha, and she passed all her mentor's drafts to me. And the one overseeing the process was none other than your acquaintance, the tech priest, Cubis Delphim. His fall was regrettable. It seems that the unorthodox, daring things he did at my behest drove him to break his vows and sink into heresy. But the human mind could never have comprehended the shard alone, and thus I appealed to the inhuman mind. I struck a deal with the Drukhari. Theft of sacraments and secrets of the Adeptus Mechanicus registered. Inciting a devout tech priest to commit heresy. Requested blasphemous merging of sacred technologies with forbidden ones. Registered further transgression. Registering discontinued. The drill on Pascal's mechadendrite screeches in fury. You collaborated with the Drukhari? Alas, the operation demanded it. Through the agents of one of my acolytes, Emelina, I contacted Archon, Iremeris, and made a pact. I gave her access to the technologies contained within this relic and destroyed her rivals in the Cabal. She would relay information on their raids to my spies, and I would solve the problem. In exchange, her homunculus Tervantias forged a joke for me. Of course, I did not let him near the shard itself, but rather set up laboratory for him on Quent Satemer. It was safer that way. All the pieces were contributing to my plan, but none had enough information to comprehend the entirety of it. Henrix cringes at Calcasar's words. You disposed of Emelina like unwanted rubbish, like wasted material. After all her years of faithful service to the Golden Throne. Unfortunately, I had to send Emelina away to remove her from the board. A screwed woman of principle. I used to value those qualities of hers, but suddenly they started to get in the way of my plans. It would have been safer to eliminate her before she could figure out what was going on, but I must have grown miserably over the years and was loathing to part with a good agent. Or perhaps I was simply being sentimental. Why do the Drukhari want the shard? It is one of the most complicated and perfect creations of a race much older than the Drukhari, and it is mere object, but a treasure trove of technology. A wise master could uncover many secrets simply by covering it. No, observing it. I'm starting to get tired. We need to get through this dialogue and then it's going to be sleep. Nothing can excuse consorting with inhumans. Trust me, your lordship, the threat of the aliens pales in comparison to that posed by the ruinous powers. Iremeris could plunder 1,000 worlds, but she is no Uralon the Cruel. She was as great a danger to her own kind as she was to the Imperium. The disruption she caused among the Drukhari was only to our benefit. She intended to trigger a powerful disjunction in Komora, thereby destroying her rivals and elevating her own cabal in the process. Knowing full well how precarious her grand plan was, I made no attempt to talk her out of it. With a little luck, we wouldn't have need worry about Comora's influence. This new information about a pact combined with the astro observation data collected in this star system resolves the inconsistencies identified earlier until Xavier Kakasar stands accused of stealing the astrographic records of the Cognizance fleet. I am amazed by your analytical prowess. Yes, I needed stars to feed the shard. The cabal of the reaving tempests could steal them and bring them here. But it was imperative to preserve the exact energy parameters so as not to trigger the object's premature detonation. I procured the necessary information on suitable stars from the Explorator's fleet's data scriptorium, requesting a Category 1 blasphemy, registering a Category 1 blasphemy. Unit Xavier Kakasar is hereby sentenced to intravital discretion and study. Upon the cessation of vital functions, the unit's remains must be disposed of in disgrace. Disgrace. Let's see here. And then I take it you decide to get rid of your Xenos allies. There was no more need for them, seeing as the joke was almost completed and the situation was escalating out of control. Theodora was dead, the cult of the Final Dawn had reared its head and was preparing to strike. And Iremeris had forgotten her place. She was putting forward to many elimination requests, and when I told her to curb her appetite, she retaliated. The theft of the Rykad star was timed to occur when Master Van Clouks would be on the planet. The Archon wanted to rob me of one of my agents and send a message. What? Rykad's son? Vanished because of me? I still fail to see the connection between the disappearing star and the cult of the Final Dawn. How could the Xenos catalyst be fulfillment of the arch enemy's prophecies.